A warm spring, a hot summer, tinderbox conditions. We worry about wildfires burning our forests in Washington. But one summer, it was Washington's cities that burned. Who is to blame? That's the hot topic today in the Mossback's Den. Actually, we're not in the den today. We're in eastern Washington in Ellensburg at the Kittitas County Historical Museum. In 1889, this was one of the ground zeros for a series of fires that devastated Washington cities. Washington Territory was poised to become a state when this triple tragedy occurred. Seattle, Ellensburg, Spokane, these three cities burned in quick sequence, boom, boom, boom. First to go was Seattle, Washington's biggest city. On June 6, 1889, about 2 in the afternoon, a glue pot boiled over in a cabinet maker shop at First and Madison. When a young Swedish immigrant, John E. Black, attempted to douse the flames with water, it simply spread the fire to sawdust. Soon the entire business district, which we know today as Pioneer Square, was aflame. Firefighters attempted to put out the fire, but the tide was out, so they had trouble getting water pressure from Elliott Bay. In 18 hours, 25 commercial blocks were completely destroyed, over 100 acres, which included wharves and railroad terminals. After the fire, the local militia was called in to prevent looting. Overnight, Seattle had turned from a bustling port to a tent city full of displaced businesses and people. Almost exactly a month later, on July 4th, fire hit again in Ellensburg, Washington, which is directly east of Seattle. Ellensburg was a relatively small city compared to Seattle, of about 3,000 people, but it was a city of big ambitions. The people of Ellensburg were lobbying to become the new state's capital. Boosters had even built a castle-like building to act as the governor's mansion. At about 10:30 that evening, amid gale force winds, a fire started near a local dry goods store. What started the fire? Was it fireworks? A stove left on? A still in the basement? Was it arson? Disgruntled miners? Chinese workers? No one knows for sure. By early next morning, 10 downtown blocks and over 200 homes had been destroyed. The fire burnt out because there was nothing left to burn. There is a surviving witness. This scorched and blistered mantel clock is said to have survived the fire, according to a note on the back. It stopped at the time the fire reached it, 11:07 p.m. Last but not least, the fire reached one of Washington's most important commercial and transportation hubs that summer, Spokane Falls, now known simply as Spokane. On August 4th, at 6 in the afternoon, fire raged through the downtown area in a place called Railroad Alley. It was near the railroad tracks where transients and other people could get cheap food, booze, and lodging. The ignition point was said to be a lunch counter called Wolf's Lodge. The summer in Spokane had been uncommonly hot, up in the 90s for days on end. Wildfire smoke lay heavily on the town from elsewhere in the region. Fire was explosive. It raged through downtown. Like Seattle, the firefighters had trouble with the hoses and getting water on the fire. A decision was made to blow up some of the brick and stone buildings in the fire's path in order to create a fire line. Unfortunately, it seemed to just have the effect of exposing the wooden timbers inside and feeding the flames even further. The best firewall turned out to be the Spokane River. The fire raged until it reached it. But in the meantime, it had burned 32 blocks of downtown Spokane. The people of Portland sent boxcars full of food to the city of Spokane to help fire victims. Spokane didn't really want the food. They wanted to recover on their own. But some members of the rather corrupt city council stole some of the food, ate some of the smoked ham, and later became known as the Ham Council. Losses in each city were enormous. In Spokane, Seattle, and Ellensburg, the total was about $1 billion in today's dollars. Fortunately, there was very little loss of human life. The three cities rebuilt quickly and took the opportunity to improve themselves. They built more with brick and stone, things that were less flammable. They professionalized the fire departments and the equipment the fire departments used. Seattle famously raised itself 1 story high, so the original first story was underground. All 3 cities took the phoenix rising from the ashes as their symbol. And despite the triple disasters of the fires, Washington Territory became a state, the 42nd state, at the end of the year. 130 years later, wildfires still remain a threat to life and property. So there was little loss of human life, but historians say up to 1 million rats died in the Seattle fire.